Alright, let's just get rolling into one today. You know what I'm saying, my people? Shoot. You know, I want to say this is going to be one from all my Sag people. So that would be a Sagittarius Ascendant Sun. Yeah, Ascendant Sun. We've got like 3 planets in Sagittarius, and it's my Ascendant Sun. Mula Nakshatra. I'm a double Mula. The Uttara Falguni Moon. To all you people out there who use Western astrology, you gotta use Vedic. Alright, but yeah, we're gonna use the traditional Radiant Wise Spirit. Oh yeah. Oh, we got some cards popping out. Oh, okay, here, let's see what we got. Alrighty. So it looks like we got the Hanged Man Strength and the Queen of Swords. Wow, yeah. You're gonna need some. You know what I feel like? I feel like the strength that you're gonna need today is to be passive. That's the strength you're gonna need today. It feels like maybe everything's coming up to like a culmination of something, and you're gonna need to stay calm, which is gonna take a lot of strength. Maybe it'll feel like, because the Hanged Man is here, maybe it'll feel like the strength that you're having to exert into what you need to is actually not the right thing. Maybe you feel like your stagnancy, maybe you feel like your patience and all that stuff is actually sacrificing yourself to something. You know, it's just sacrificing yourself something greater. You know, or maybe for some of us, the sacrifices that we made is what gave us strength. You know what I mean? It's the sacrifices are what motivating us and what's showing us what's true about ourselves. You know what I mean? Maybe you've been told something your entire life and you've known it not to be true, but now you're just starting to believe it. You know what I mean? I tell you, look at this. That is a beauty mark I've had since I was a child. Whew, how we age. Okay, now the last one here, we got the Queen of Wands. Honestly, I feel like this is what we're like looking at. This is the target. It's the Queen of Wands. Like all of this stuff going on over here, it's either caused by the Queen of Wands from the past, or we're looking at the Queen of Wands, and that's maybe like some kind of a goal. You know what I mean? You know, I'm getting this expression, I'm getting this really strong feeling to say that, you know, maybe the Queen of Wands is the quality of the strength, the quality of the expression of the strength that we need today, you know, and it's stemming from this inner feeling of like martyrship, of feeling like I had to do this. I did not want to do this. This sucks. I fucking hate this, but I had to do this. There was no other option, and so, right? And then so I did it. You know? But now, there's so much inside of me. I'm stuck fucking wreck on the inside. You know, there's so much doubt, so much pain, you know, that I need a channel to get that out of me. You know what I mean? I need a mirror to bounce all my shit off of, you know? And maybe that's what the Queen of Swords is representing. I mean, she's looking to the right. She's holding the sword of truth, right? And the right is kind of like the future. She's got one bird flying right above her head. And I always imagine that, like, if I'm out and I'm contemplating something out in the woods or outside of my house or something like that, you know, and then just when I get a thought, an eagle flies right over my head. Hey, you know, it's like a nod from God, right? It doesn't necessarily tell us exactly, but it says that that line of thinking is in the right direction, right? You know, so I gotta say that regardless of the quality of the Queen of Wands, or the Queen of, sorry, I love the Queen of Wands, the quality of the Queen of Swords, I'm gonna marry the Queen of Wands one day. Yeah, maybe it's exactly what we need, even if it's I'm going up against somebody, or I'm facing an inner shadow of myself, or whether this is just maybe a muse. This could be a muse. But that muse could be just to get you through a couple hard days. You know what I mean? I've had that experience recently. You know, I had somebody come into my life just for a couple of days, just to remind me who the fuck I am, you know? You ever, this is one of my favorite things, and I'm sure a lot of you can identify with this, but you know somebody for a while, maybe you have a job, and you just quiet all the time, you know, you goof around. There's no real reason to try to express the full extent of my personality and how fucking wonderful I am, right? And then one day, all of a sudden, something happens or something. And then all of these people start looking at you like they have no fucking clue who they're talking to. It's one of like the coolest feelings of all time, you know, because that means you literally did not try to prove yourself to anybody, and slowly over time they just fucking found out, you know. Yeah, it's a great feeling. Great feeling. It brings a lot of peace. I hope all of you get to experience that someday. I've been experiencing a lot recently. You know, because people just they want to judge the book. They want to look at you, and they want to think that they want to look at you, and they want to listen to the surface of what you're saying, and they want to feel like that they are completely informed as to the motherfucker that you are. But I'll tell you something, man. Anybody who leads their life that way is so short-sighted and has so much growing up to do. But that's a lot of the problem is children, you know? We really let children run things. We allow them to have stupid fucking opinions and tout those opinions as truth to other young, stupid people. You know, I was young. You know, I was young. Surprisingly. Now I'm 36. But, man, I remember being that young. And it's not so much that I feel like I know everything. It's, I really, really want to feel like I know what I'm doing. Because if I don't, what does that mean for me? Right? Because before I go through my Saturn return, right? When I'm up to like 27, I went through mine when I was 28 and a half. Like, you know, dude, my life is going in a certain way, right? And then that Saturn return comes, or you change your Mahadaja or Antardasha, which are planetary time periods in Vedic astrology, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, what's going on, you know? And it's because we glued, right? We hinged up our egos with our external world, you know what I mean? Because God just didn't feel like enough. When you got this whole world out here, right? But then all we're supposed to do is have faith and trust God. That's confusing. It makes me feel like I'm not doing enough when I only have faith and pray, right? And I think that's why a lot of young kids take that route. And I think that's why I took that route. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it is a beautiful life we live, but, you know, so you got to detach from that, and you got to realize that you do have innate worth inside of you. You know, you are valuable, very, very valuable, and it's not because of what you do, of what you say, of anything like that. It's because you just are. And the only way you can take that value away is if you take it away from yourself. That's the only way. You know? But anyway, let's do another card. It's only 8 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. So yeah, with all this today, let's give. Let's give to people. Let's make it a thing to where today you are going to go out of your way to smile at 5 people, ask them how they're doing, and listen for the response of how they're doing. And if they try to change the subject and ask you how you're doing, I guess just answer them. But answer them sincerely. You know, because maybe they just don't want to talk about it. We're not supposed to force anybody, but make sure you're listening. You know? People say a lot of things. And if you let people talk for long enough, they'll tell you exactly what's going on. You don't even have to ask any questions. If you just watch, you know, when you watch all over, you know, the web that makes somebody, right? Like their footprint, like, you know somebody in your community, but then you also know that they like to drink coffee. You also know that they like to hang out at the park. You also know where they work. You know what kind of car they drive. You know where they like to, you know the routes that they like to drive to and from work, right? You know all of these different little nodes about somebody. And, yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. But there's so many different aspects to a person's life. I think they call it their footprint, you know. And if you watch a person's entire footprint, I mean, to the extent that you can, if there's less of a footprint, you just watch for longer, then they'll tell you everything. Absolutely everything. You won't even have to ask a question. And then you just wait for the evidence, you know? so that we don't come off as crazy people. You know what I mean? You gotta wait for the evidence first. Hold on, but stay guarded, my brother. Stay guarded. We're crusaders. Love and light. Jesus loves you, and I love you.